the essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent.
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.
Black power! Black power!
Black power!
Black power!
Black power!
Are you feeling fatigued and can barely make it through the day without some type of caffeine?
Are you on a journey of healing your body but need a little help?
Then alkaline water is what you really need.
Alkaline water has many benefits. Alkaline water can help restore pH balance in the body. Consuming beverages such as soda and coffee can make your body acidic.
Did you know that too much acid in your body has been linked to an anemia, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, autoimmune disease, chronic pain, and other chronic conditions like gout and arthritis?
Those who use alkaline water have reported increased energy levels, clearer skin, reduction in inflammation, better digestion, and many other health benefits. I've used alkaline water for years, and it's been instrumental in sustaining my health when I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis.
Are you ready to take responsibility for your body's health?
If the answer is yes, then our alkaline water is just what you need. Bring your own bottles. It's only $3 for each gallon. To place an order or for more information, you can reach us at 773-846-3091. Thank you in advance for your support.
Hi, my name is Sister Ebony Stevenson. I am your announcer for today. Welcome to the Toma Nation's weekly Sunday worship service from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. every Sunday at 616 East 71st Street here in Chicago, Illinois, and also live on Facebook. If you would like more information, you can reach us at www.facebook.com/TomaNation2 or give us a call at 773-952-8302. Now I'm going to recite our opening. In the name of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent, the one who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, and the one who made time the seed of the universe, known among the ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aten, among the Hebrews as Ansar, Yahweh, and Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims and Islamic world as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari, among the Yoruba tribes of West Africa as Odumare, Eshu, and many other Orisha names. I bear witness that all these names refer to the same one, Almighty Spirit, and it is to that essence which I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the descendants of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are the Lost 13 tribe, born in North America, and are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the earth flows through our veins. I greet you in the ancient but holy words of peace, Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. Now I'm going to recite the 13 points of what we believe and know. Number 1. We believe and know that we are not to repeat the mistakes of the past prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator of the heavens and earth. Number 2. We believe and know that we can only establish an economic base through the application of the knowledge of self and the incorporation of the ideologies of the Honorable Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mahatma Gandhi, and Ben Ami. Number 3. We believe and know that the prophets and messengers of the Holy Bible, the Holy Quran, and the Kemetic Holy Books were all black. Number 4, we believe and know that Jesus Christ of 2,000 years was and is a black man. Number 5, we believe and know that the knowledge of the Almighty Creator goes beyond books written by the prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator. Number 6, we believe and know that in order to promote and coordinate unity, we must first recognize and accept the uniqueness of being able to worship our Creator, regardless of religious denomination, name, title, ritual, particular dress, or holy book, as long as it recognizes the Almighty Creator of the heavens, earth, and the universe as supreme. Number 7, we believe and know that it is impossible to tell the truth without exposing the wicked governments of the world. Number 8, we believe and know that the United States government, in collaboration with other European nations, have a now objective to exterminate dark-skinned people of color off the earth through the act of genocide. Number 9, we believe and know that some of the most effective methods that are being used today are AIDS, birth control, alcohol and drug abuse, vaccinations, gang and domestic violence, systematic elimination of trauma centers, the public school system, and public aid within the black communities of America and the world. Number 10, we believe and know that the last trick that Satan is playing on us is the dividing of us by our religious differences, religious gangbanging. Number 11, we believe and know that the conflict between the various religions are comparable to the conflict between various street gangs within the inner cities of America. Number 12, we believe and know that the war on drugs and gangs is a diabolical plot to disarm the black community of weapons, break up the black family, withdraw our constitutional rights, also kill and incarcerate young black males under the undercover code name Able 2029. And number 13, we believe and know that every letter, shape, sound, and numerical value contains esoteric information that completely transcends the specific contextual meaning of the word. Our purpose: to bring about the growth of a righteous community in accordance with the laws of the Creator of the universe, under the leadership and guidance of Brother Minister Raheem Quasad Oxen, to provide solutions to the social and economic ills that plague the communities of urban America. Our goal: to re-educate and retrain youth and young adults to develop positive moral values as an alternative to delinquent behaviors, because you can't rebuild a community and not rebuild the minds of the residents of the community to meet the responsibilities of maintaining the community's image. Our mission: to enhance the economic development of our communities by establishing businesses, real and personal properties, thereby creating jobs and/or entrepreneurship training programs that will reverse the concept of leaving the community to buying back the community. Our motto: let your light so shine before men that they shall see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Now we're going to recite our salute to the red, black, and green flag. Everyone put your right fist in the air and repeat after me. Here's to this flag of mine, the red, black, and green. Hopes in its future bright, Africa has seen. Here's to the red of it, great nations shall know of it. In time to come, red blood shall flow of it. Historians shall write of it, this flag of mine. Here's to the black of it, 400 million's back of it, whose destiny depends on it. The red, black, and green of it, oh flag of mine. Here's to the green of it, young men and women shall dream of it, face shots and shells for it, maidens shall sing of it, waving so high. Here's to the whole of it, colors bright and pole of it, pleased is my soul with it, regardless of what is told of it. Thanks to God for giving him this great flag of mine. Please keep your right fist raised high in the air as we sing our Black National Anthem. Black power, black power, black power. Black power is the power to define, develop, and defend that which is in the best interest of Black people.
Greetings. Greetings. I am your lecturer for today, Sister Ebony Stevenson. Welcome to the Toma Nation's weekly Sunday worship service. That's worship, W-A-R-S-H-I-P. You notice the difference? Not W-O-R-S-H-I-P, but W-A-R-S-H-I-P. Come and be fed by God's messengers. The Toma Nation is a righteous movement, a Black righteous movement here in Chicago, Illinois, and was founded by Minister Rahim Cassette Aten, the co-founder, Minister Omari Jahi Aten, and the First Lady, Sister Makita Aisha Aten. We stream live here every Sunday at 12:30. The teachings according to our leader, teacher, and founder, Minister Rahim Cassette Aten. And so thank you so much for joining us. If you would like information about today's lecture, which is titled, We Integrated into a Burning House, Now We Build a New One, or any of our previous lectures, or if you would like an exclusive invitation for any of our upcoming events, always feel free to shoot us a text at 773-846-3091. Once again, thank you so much for joining us for our Toma Nation weekly Sunday worship service. And I'm going to begin by reciting our opening. In the name of the everlasting Father, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that is self-existent, he who directs the sonships of millions and trillions of years, and he who made time the seed of the universe, known among the ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aten, among the Hebrews as Ansof, Yahweh and Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims and Islamic world as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari, and among the Yoruba tribes of West Africa as Eshu, Olodumare, and many other Orisha names, I bear witness that all of these names refer to the same one Almighty God, and it is to him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the descendants of those Black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are that lost 13 tribe, born in North America, and are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the world flow through our veins. I greet you in the ancient yet holy words of peace, Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. Ashe, Ashe. Welcome to the Toma Nation's weekly Sunday worship service. I am going to be, some of you may be familiar with this conversation, but I kind of put a little bit of what the lecture is about in the title. We integrated into a burning house. Now we build a new one. For those of you who are not familiar with that burning house statement, that was in a conversation a couple months before his assassination, a conversation that Dr. Martin Luther King had with Harry Belafonte. And I'm going to play the video of Harry Belafonte talking about that conversation. So give me 1 second. Thank you. Wow. That was a lot, right? Now, just think about what's going on right now. Look, we don't even have to mention what's going on in the news, but just think about what's going on right now. And that piece around being integrated into a burning house is that you can compare how relevant that was in 1968 during the height of the civil rights movement. And you can also make a comparison to what we are seeing right now in 2026. We are in day four of 2026. And so, looking at all of the things that Dr. Martin Luther King accomplished, right? And, this wasn't a speech. This was Harry Belafonte was his friend, one of his supporters, right? And so to be at his house and just having a reflective conversation, considering all the work that Dr. Martin Luther King had done. And then also Harry Belafonte mentioned, that this was also during that time when he was organizing the Poor People's Campaign, and they were talking about, economic dignity, fair wages, housing equity, systemic reform, right, for America's most marginalized citizens, right? For Black folk, you know what I'm saying, who we had been granted social proximity, right? You know what I'm saying? We could, do certain things, but we were still denied a structural inheritance. We were still denied being human beings. And so, that reflection of him thinking about, out of all the hard work, after all the protests, right? After all of the beatings by police, people being bit by dogs, after the bus boycott, and just think of all those things going on during that time period. And for him to say that, he was afraid that he integrated his people into a burning house because that America had lost its morals. I mean, I wouldn't say America had lost its morals, because really, we know how America was. Thinking about how America was actually founded, was there ever any morals? But that America was becoming more and more morally bankrupt, and he could see that. And he was worried about, he had fought so hard to integrate his people into the system, and what would be the result of that. And then you saw at the end of that statement that Harry Belafonte said about if you are a nation without morals, all you can do is lead your people to what? To safety? No, to destruction. And that's crazy when we consider what we're looking at going on right now. And so even then, we know that America was morally unstable, right? And, it was so much going on that it was such a historical moment, right? The civil rights movement and all the things that came about from that, right? All of these civil rights, not human rights, which are different, but all of these civil rights. And then, we look at 2026, the concept of being integrated into a burning house is the same thing now. We are still in a burning house era. The fire never went out, right? It's only gotten fiercer. It's only gotten stronger. And so, when you integrate people into something without rebuilding it first, that is not the best strategy to get the wins and the goals that you wanted. And his reflection of that, they accomplished a lot of things, but that integration was not what he thought it was going to be. And so, and this is something that, when we talk about Black people in economics, the integration is also something that Dr. Claude Anderson mentions in his book and in his speeches, talking about the effects of integration and Black economics. And so when we stand in 2026, in this era, right, where the furnace is hotter than it's ever been, and it's louder, it's faster, it's digital, it's unrighteous, it's unmoral, right? It's psychological, it's systemic. We have to understand that in this furnace, as the fire continues to roar and America gets consumed, we have to understand we are not the kindling. We are not the fuel. We are the architects. We are the water bearers. We are not the smoke. When we talk about being the chosen people and building the Creator's kingdom here on earth, we have to understand. Let's look at 2026. When you break 2026 down in numerology, it adds up to 1. The 2 plus the 0 plus the 2 plus the 6 equals 10. And then the 1 plus the 0 equals 1. And so when you look at the number 1, signifying new cycles, right? Signifying leadership. So when we talk about new cycles, how about breaking the cycles that we continue to find ourselves in? Some of us are living in a repeating cycle after cycle after cycle after cycle, and we haven't been able to break it. And so 2026 is the year to break these cycles that is going on in your personal life, in your family's life, and in the life of your community. Because we understand that we're living in a cycle right now, and it's up to us, right? As we witness what's going on, that we reclaim our heritage so that we can, because once this cycle is broken here on this planet, it will not be repeated. Do you hear what I said? Once this cycle is broken here on this planet, it will not be repeated. And so when we look at, going under the number 1, I mentioned leadership. We have a problem in our community where everybody wants to be a leader and nobody wants to be a follower. And we understand that that is a Western mindset, that is a mindset of us being more European than the European, because we have to understand that everyone needs a leader, right? Here at Toma Nation, our leader, teacher, and God is Minister Raheem Kasset-Aten. But in your own personal life, everyone needs a leader. If you're the head of your household, right? If you're the head of the household, then you are the leader of your household, correct? If you're whether you are married or whether you are single, if you are the head of your household and you have children, you are the leader of your household, right? So you have a responsibility to lead that household in the right way, in a righteous way, right? And if you don't do that, then there's what? Consequences. And so when we look at the number one and we look at a leadership, this is the opportunity to, if you do not have a leader, you need to get under one. So when we say, for example, and I know this might ruffle some feathers because we have so many people who are like, oh, I don't need a leader. Like, I can learn everything on my own. I got AI, I got ChatGPT, I got Google Banana, I got all of these resources, right? So anything I need, I can find on the internet. But let's look at it this way. If you, when I was in high school, I used to play badminton. So let's say you play badminton, right? I also dabbled a little bit in volleyball. So let's say you wanted to be the best volleyball player on the planet. Can you become the best volleyball player on the planet by yourself? When I was younger, I was fascinated with figure skating. And I used to love Nancy Kerrigan. And so when you look at figure skating, can you be the best figure skater on the planet without a coach, without a leader, without somebody to guide you what you should do and what you shouldn't do? Right. And so looking into 2026, some of us may be leaders in the spaces that we find ourselves in, but even leaders need coaches. Let me say that again. Even leaders need coaches. Even leaders need coaches. That is very true. It's so true. Because the thing about following under a leader is that you want someone that can take you where you've never been before. That's just like if your New Year's resolution was to lose weight. Let's say you've been trying to lose 100 pounds for the last 20 years and you haven't been able to do it. So what do you need? You need somebody who's either done what you want to accomplish or they have helped other people accomplish what you want to accomplish. It's also just like, and I say this a lot, it's also just like if you say, oh, my financial goal in 2026 is to become a millionaire. Well, guess what? Can you become a millionaire on your own? Some people, can you become a millionaire on your own? Or it's the fastest way is to have someone who's already become a millionaire and has kept that money and has grown more money to teach you how they became successful. That makes more sense than you sitting around a table with 5 broke friends all trying to figure out, oh, how we going to become a millionaire when none of y'all done it before. Because you need someone to guide you to show you what to do and what not to do. And so continuing under the number one, let's look at originality, initiative, spiritual identity, independence with purpose, right? How are we charting the independent path to liberation, right? And how are we pioneering destiny? How are we being responsible for the inheritance that the Creator left us here on earth? And I know those are a lot of words that I said, but you have to just look at, out of all those things, that 2026 is the year to take leadership of your households, take leadership of your communities to a more righteous path, and then find you someone that you can follow that has the blueprint or the roadmap to help you get where you're trying to go. And so this is the thing, because when you look at chosen people, they don't just survive the fire, right? Chosen people are not just the ones who are going to survive this burning house. They are sent to be able to do the things that they were promised, right? To inherit the things that they were promised by the Creator of this planet. Now, see, the thing is, that is really important because, here at Toma Nation, when we greet people or when we say goodbye, we say peace, peace. And the reason why we say that is because, we used to say peace singular, but our leader, teacher, and God, Minister Raheem, said out to change it to peace, peace for that double portion of peace. Because when you're the chosen people, when you're aspiring to be the righteous people, then you're supposed to be at peace no matter if you're inside of a burning house. You're supposed to be at peace no matter if the sky is falling down outside. You're still supposed to be at peace. You can't let what's going on, what you see on the news, what you see on social media, you can't let that rule your life. And so 2026 is the year for you to reclaim your inheritance and become master of your destiny. And so let's go into looking at, Toma Nation, we wouldn't be us if we did not have, scriptures to back up what we say. And so let's look at in the King James Holy Bible. And then also, I always do a reminder, when we refer to holy books, here at Toma Nation, we utilize two main books. One is the standard King James Version of the Holy Bible and the Yusuf Ali version, translation of the Holy Quran. And so let's look at this. Let's look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created heaven and the earth. And so in the creation of the heaven and earth, that was a divine pattern, right? He authored something new. And so later on, when Yeshua talks about the chosen people, or when Moses talks about his people being the chosen people, we have to understand that this creation, that our creation was a divine commissioning, not an accident. We are not an accidental people. We were made for a reason. We were made to take over our inheritance. And so this means that we are stepping into this era where we cannot stall ourselves. We've got to start doing what we should have been doing in the past. We got to start reclaiming our inheritance, starting at home. Excuse me. How are you promoting righteous moral values in your house? Do you have a Holy Bible in your household? Do you have a Holy Quran? Do you read it with your family? Do you talk about morality in your household? Do you talk about what it means to be a good person, what it means to be a righteous person? And when we say good, we mean God. What does it mean to be a godly person, right? Because you can't assume that, people know things that you have not talked to them about. I think I mentioned this before. There was... they did like a little, I don't know, I'm trying to see what you call it. They did a little scenario where they put a bunch of kids in different situations. And it was based off of, the stranger danger theory, right? Parents just assumed that their children knew not to go with strangers. They assumed that, they had conversations with their children, like if someone offered them candy, or if someone came up to them saying that they knew their mother, or someone, tried to find out if their parents were at home or not, right? They assumed that their children will respond a certain way. But time and time again, it proved that the children did not know what the parents assumed that they know. And the children fell for the bait every time. And the parents were just shocked, like, what? Like, but I taught you this. But see, this is the thing. In your household, if you are not pushing a morally righteous lifestyle, if you're not living a morally righteous lifestyle, like how to be a good person, how to be a God person, a godly person, then you can assume that your children know how to live that lifestyle if that's something that you are not portraying yourself. as a living example, and it's something that you are not talking to them about, because it's so easy for our families to get caught up in the chaos that's going on right now. And that's the thing. Because of our divine destiny, because of our divine inheritance, we can't afford to get caught up in the chaos of this world. Because if you think it's crazy now, it's only going to get worse. And this is why it's so important that you got to focus on that divinity, right? And so let's look at a scripture from the Holy Quran. Let's look at Surah 57, Ayah 3. He is the first and the last, the evidence and the imminent. So this is the thing. God isn't intimidated by fire. So when we talk about we have been integrated into a burning house, the title of my lecture was we need to build a new one, right? And so because we know that God is not intimidated by fire, you know, he precedes it and concludes it. The first means origin. It means authority. It means initiation, leadership, covenant identity, and divine precedence. And for Black people now, this means that our origin story is not written by America or any burning institution. It was authored by God before any of this was put in place. And this fire is in Revelation. This burning house, this fall of America, it's already written. God said he was going to save America. For who? For himself. And so when we look at this burning house and how it's testing the worldwide scene, it does not rewrite what the Creator wanted for us, because the Creator already envisioned that this will happen. This burning house is a part of a cycle that's going to be broken. And you want to make sure that you're on the right path. As Minister Rahim would say, you want to make sure that you are deemed worthy to escape. And so let's look at, you know, going into 2026, and we talk about what does a burning house mean. We look at the world scene. We look at what's going on in politics. We look at, you know, more and more anytime, you know, we're talking about Black people, you know, anytime we're talking about Black righteousness, what it means to be Black, our identities are being silenced, right? Because we're still being pushed to integrate. Anytime you bring up anything about our past in America, anytime you bring up, you know, slavery or Reconstruction or civil rights, or even if you bring up events like Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? I'm calling it a massacre. Massacre and just theft. And so anytime you bring up that stuff, right, our actual history, what do we get told? Oh, that was so long ago. Y'all should let that go. And so our identity is being silenced. That's our generational history. It's something that we're still being affected by today in 2026. And if you don't think so, then you really do not have a grasp on the reality that Black people are facing in America. It's also the architect, this burning house is the architect of families being fractured, of families being broken. As we look at Black economics, look at the state of inflation is in America. You know, we've always been on the economic bottom, but I believe it was Minister Yashua who said we're not even on the economic bottom anymore. We're under the economic bottom. We're underneath it now. We're not just on it no more. We're underneath it. And so, you know, we have to look at what happens when there are no morals in place. What happens when the concept of moral righteousness erodes? What happens when you don't practice moral values in your house? That means that people in your house don't have morals, right? So it's everybody for themselves. And we see that so much. We love to turn YNs. YNs didn't just pop out overnight, right? They are made in these households that don't have moral righteousness. They're made in these households who are not teaching them the value of human life. They're made in these households where people are just focused on survival, and they're not focusing on the upliftment of their families. They're not focusing on making sure that their families are connected to God, living that goodly life, living that God life, living that righteous life. And so when we talk about being integrated into a burning house, we also have to talk about the responsibility that we have in order to build a new one. And so, I know sometimes, like if you've been following us for a while, you know what we mean when we say the chosen people. And so the thing is, we have to understand that we were made to be the vicegerents over this planet. And as we witness what's going on, we have to individually, I was about to say, what I'm saying, but if my mom heard that, she'd be like, say that correctly. What I'm trying to say is this piece around this divine inheritance. What does that mean? And so when you're looking about reclaiming that divine inheritance and how to live a more godly life, you have to start with self, because you have to model what you want your family to model. And if you start in your house, and then everyone starts in your house, and that moral righteousness, right? That goodly life, that godly life starts to overflow out to your neighbors. It starts to overflow out to your communities. Then you would understand that our communities wouldn't look the way that they do if we were focused on moral righteousness. We got 50 million churches in our community. But our communities still look the same way. They still look the same way. It doesn't matter if you're in Chicago or Baltimore or Atlanta or St. Louis. It doesn't matter where you find yourself. Jackson, Mississippi. It doesn't. I'm about to say Mississippi. Jacksonville, Florida, or in Mississippi, or anywhere in these cities in the South. We're facing the same things. There's so many churches, right? We got two of the biggest institutions in so many Black communities are churches and liquor stores. And why is that? If we have so many churches, so many religious institutions that are supposed to be practicing moral righteousness, then why are our communities still in the same state and they're just deteriorating? Here in Chicago, it doesn't matter if you go on the west side or the south side. If you go in any of our communities, you will see the states of decay. And that is by design. And because we have not stepped forward to, as they say, buy the block, rebuild the community, we haven't stepped forward to do that. Some of us have, but not enough in a collective effort to make a huge impact. And so that is something real. And those are the conversations that we need to have as we are in 2026. Let's look at the Holy Bible. Let's look at Matthew 22:14. For many are called, but few are chosen. So that is the difference between called into the room and being chosen for the assignment. A calling is invitation. A choosing is the commissioning. And so the world keeps trying to call Black people into these spaces, right? Because they love to be able to claim us, right? They love to be able to claim that, these decisions that they have made have been approved by us because we're sitting at the table. Well, how can we make decisions at these tables when we're on the menu, as Minister Rahim would say? Now, let's look at the Holy Quran, and let's look at Surah 29, Ayat 2. Do men think they will be left alone saying, we believe and not be tested? Now, this is the thing. In the Holy Bible, in the Holy Quran, it shows you when you have a chosen identity, there's always the testing. Yeshua was tested. Abraham was tested. Moses was tested, right? Right? Joseph was tested. And so Mary was tested. And so when you have these identities, or if you have an assignment, right, we have to look at, we have got to be specific with how we want to live our lives. Because that test, there's a saying, you can't have a testimonial without a test. And so Black people all across urban America, all across these towns in the South, we're being tested. We're being tested with what's going on with this country right now. And our decision whether or not we're going to double down on Blackness, we're going to double down on the goodness, on godliness, or are we going to be like other people who are losing their minds right now with what's going on with economics, with politics, and all these other things? They're losing their mind with jobs being lost due to AI, and everything is getting more and more faster, right? AI is expanding so quickly overnight that technology is putting a lot of these jobs out. And so everybody is like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And so you have to start at home. You have to look at, who are you? You're here for a reason. The Creator doesn't make accidents. There is no such thing as coincidences. If you're here in this time and space, if you're here on this plane of existence, you have an assignment, and it's up to you to figure out what that assignment is. And in order to figure out that assignment, you need to expose yourself so that you can find a leader, teacher, or guide like we have that can guide you on the straight path. If you would like more information, I know I keep mentioning our leader, teacher, and guide, but if you would like to see more of our lectures or some of the lectures from our leader, teacher, guide, Minister Raheem Kasset-Anton, and you would like more information about the Toma Nation, about how you can join the Toma Nation, or how your family can join the Toma Nation, how we can join hands together when we talk about moving into 2026, spilling this righteousness, spilling this good life, this godly life on our community. And instead of waiting, thinking that outsiders are going to come save us, that we actually get together and strategize. How do we solve our own problems? How do we solve the problems of this tsunami of guns in our community? How do we solve the problem of being on the economic bottom? How do we solve the problem of this mass Black homelessness? No matter what major city that we find ourselves in, there's always a huge, huge, huge amount of Black homelessness. Like, how do we solve these problems? We have all the things that we need to succeed. We all have God-given gifts and talents that we can use to help uplift our community and help uplift our families, right? So that we can break these cycles, right, that we keep finding ourselves in. Because that's the thing. You have to decide that you're going to be the person to break the cycle. There are a lot of videos when you're looking at, generational wealth and the path to create generational wealth. And then you have people talking about, I'm going to be the one to break the cycle of poverty for my family. And then when you look at folks who've actually interrupted, they've broken that cycle, they've interrupted the pattern, and they've broken the cycle because they made a decision that they were going to be the one to be different. They made a decision that they were going to be okay being the outlier. They made the decision that they were going to be okay sometimes being alone, sometimes thinking completely different from the way everybody else is. It's kind of like our leading teacher guide, Minister Raheem. When everybody is running one way, he's going a different way, right? You have to be comfortable in that path because you have a responsibility. We all have a responsibility as God's righteous people, as God's chosen people, that we have to feel in order to break this cycle. And so I'm going to share a couple more scriptures. I didn't realize I was already past my, I was originally trying to go to 30 minutes, but I'll go a couple more minutes. But like I said, if you would like more information about this lecture or any of our previous lectures, then always feel free to shoot us a text at 773-846-3091. I'm going to read Psalm 11, verse 3. If the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? I'm going to read that again. If the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? If a system is burning, if a house is burning, it's because the foundation was unstable or unjust. Are we not experiencing this burning house called America that was set on a foundation that was unjust, that was morally bankrupt, that was morally corrupt? And if Dr. King saw this instability in 1968, but we know that the Bible already predicted this. It's in Revelation. The Bible already predicted this. Babylon the Great has fallen. Babylon the Great is falling right now. And so we have to look at, we are not meant to patch the house. We're not meant to patch the house. We're not meant to go get some spackle, you know what I'm saying, and try to patch the house, or, you know, we all pitch in and, you know, get a fire truck and try to pour some water on it, trying to put out the fire. No, we're supposed to be focused on building the Creator's kingdom here on earth, no matter what is going on outside of us. We have a responsibility, and you have got to make sure that these flames do not recruit your bloodlines as fuel. I'm going to say that again. We have to make sure that these flames, that this burning house does not recruit your bloodline as fuel. How many Black people are being consumed in this furnace, in this burning house of America? We have to understand that, and we have to acknowledge that, and we have to be strategic about how we can stop that. And so let's look at the Holy Quran. Let's look at Surah 7, Ayah 128. And the end is best for the righteous, because the end is not ashes. The end is rebirth. The end is inheritance. The end is victory, right? The end is stewardship and dominion. And it doesn't matter, you know, what chaos may be burning around us, but that the finale belongs to us. And in order for you to, what I said that our minister says all the time, you know, in order for you to be found worthy to escape, that's based off of what? Are you living a good life? Are you living a godly life? Are you showing your family how to live a godly life? Are you showing your community how to live a godly life? And are you exemplifying what it means to live a godly life? Wow. If you would like more information about this lecture or any of our previous lectures, always feel free to shoot us a text at 773-846-3091. Now, I'm going to go for a couple more minutes, and then give us a comment if you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube, if you would like, excuse me, a part 2 of this lecture. And so, as we continue to use this burning house analogy that King gave us, we have to understand that when we talk about our identity, right, when we talk about a divine inheritance, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that we are immune from the chaos, right? That doesn't mean that we are immune from the chaos, because we have to understand that the civil rights movement had achieved legal entry, right? It had achieved legal successes, but it did not achieve economic possession, right? And so, you know, the house was never made for us. And so that's just like, you know what I'm saying? You buy a house, right? And you know what I'm saying? You're living in the house, but the house doesn't meet your requirements. You know, the house is not for you. It's the worst house for you. Like everything that you wanted in that house, you can't get, right? It's because this burning house wasn't meant for us. And so that's why it's burning, because it was built on a foundation that was morally bankrupt. And so as we move into this 2026, this fourth day of 2026, and we're looking at, this is the time when people talk about, oh, I want to write down my goals for 2026. These are things I want to accomplish. I want to lose weight. I want to buy a house. I want to buy a car. I want to move to a better neighborhood. Like all of these goals that we give ourselves, right? Or like, I want my kids to go to college, or I want my kids to graduate high school, right? I want my family to be safe. When we put down all of these goals and all of these things, we have to understand that we have to look at things a different way, and we can't get caught up in the flames that we witness around us. And so let's look at the Holy Quran. Let's look at Surah 6, Ayah 165. It is he who hath made you vicegerent on earth. Do you know what the concept of a vicegerent is, what it means? A vicegerent means steward, leader, representative, ruler, inheritor, guardian, cultivator, architect, governor, protector. God has given us an assignment, right? And when we talk about that divine inheritance, it's just like when we talk about people in the Bible, right? And we talk about the chosen, and we talk about God's chosen people. Their inheritance was land, right? And when we look at the Creator and how the Creator, he assigned us to govern the earth by his command. And so that means we were entrusted with stewardship of the planet. How can we steward a planet when we can't even steward our households? How can we steward a community when we can't? How can we steward a community when we can't even take care of what we have? Right? If you're entrusted with something, if you're meant to protect something, do we protect our communities? Do we steward our communities? Or do we contribute to the decay of our communities with our thinking, with our habits, with how we spend our dollars, when we don't support businesses in the community that look like us, when we spend all of our money with people who couldn't care less if we lived or died, spend money with people who send that money off to their communities where their money circulates, and our community just goes further and further into decay. And so that's just like when, people be like, I'm going to pray to become a millionaire, or I'm going to pray to become financially stable. Well, how can you walk into the blessing of being a millionaire? How can you walk into the blessing of being financially stable when you can't manage what the Creator has already given you? I'm going to say that again. How can you walk into that blessing when you can't manage what the Creator has already given you? That's just like, say, for example, I'm going to give you a real life, something that I do. Usually when I'm walking around, if I see like pennies or nickels or dimes on the ground, I always try to make sure that I pick them up, because that's my mindset. How can I walk into a blessing, to be financially stable, if I ignore the blessings that have been put forth to me along the way? Those pennies, nickels, and dimes add up. And if you think you above it or you greater than that, sometimes you can miss out on your blessing with your pride. And so, I got so much more. I haven't really got into the really deep part of my lecture, but I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, the Toma Nation, on this Sunday, January 4th. And like I said, if you like this lecture, or any of you want any of our previous lectures, shoot us a text at 773-846-3091. If you would like to join us for one of our Sunday worship services virtually, we have some events coming up in 2026. If you would like to join us at any of these events or bring your family, or if you would just like more information about Toma Nation, how to become a member, what do we believe and know? Like, I know you see all of these things, like when you watch us every Sunday, like you see our mission, right? You see our values, you see the 13 points of what we believe and know. You might have questions about that. We salute to the red, black, and green flag. You might have a question about why do we do that? And then we also sing the Black National Anthem, lift every voice and sing. You might be like, you might see it and may have questions like, why do they do that? Or I've never seen someone else do things the way that they do. If you would like more information, shoot us a text at 773-846-3091. Thank you so much for joining us for our Toma Sunday worship service. Thank you so much, and Black Power. Worship service. We invite you and your family to join us live every Sunday at 616 East 71st Street from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. and on app at $NATIOS. We thank you, Black family. See you next Sunday. Black Power.
This is of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent.
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.
Power.